I'm Becca and welcome to a what I'm reading right now video. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Maybe while you're there, hit subscribe as well. I post these videos on a weekly basis. But as for what I'm currently reading, I have been making my way through The Mime Order, which is the sequel to The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I've got a separate review for The Bone Season and it's spoiler free. But as far as my feelings went for The Bone Season, I'm feeling quite similar about this book, and those are decent and good things. It's not a slight against The Bone Season. I'm probably settling on a 4 stars so far for this, and when I read it way back when, I gave it a 5, but I think I got caught up in the hype of the end rather than looking at it as a whole book. And I've got like 200 pages left of this. I'm making a decent way through and I think I can finish it this week. This is one of those longer books that in my September to be read video, I was like, maybe I'll start this after everything else because it's a little bit longer and see how I feel. And instead of starting it last after all of the little things I wanted to read on my Kindle, I started it first out of everything else. So I'm like, now I need to finish it ASAP. This follows Paige, by the way. She is a clairvoyant. Clairvoyants are illegal in the city of Sion, London, and Sion has a lot of surveillance to track down people who have these clairvoyant abilities. So if you're a clairvoyant, it basically means you've got this cool ability that is somehow linked to seeing ghosts or the dead. And Paige is a dream walker, and that means that she can sense people's dreamscapes, so anyone who's walking by, and also potentially manipulate them in different ways. But she's very much leveling up her abilities because they take a big toll on her body. And this book is drastically different to book 1, so I don't want to say too much about it because obviously spoilers. It is a great series and it's very detailed and in-depth, but I'm finding that it's missing a spark for me. And I don't know what that spark is. I just know that it's not there. And so while I'm interested and intrigued and enjoying it, I'm just not obsessed with it. And that's why it's roughly a 4 stars in my head, even though I've got 200 pages to go. If you watched my video from last week, you'll know that I was currently reading Oathbringer on audiobook, and I got 100 pages or the equivalent in the audiobook for this one before something else came in, and I've decided to put Oathbringer on the back burner a little bit while I get through my other audiobooks. And I've recently just shared a best bits of The Words of Radiance because I'm doing that for every single book, so I will link that down below for you if you're a Stormlight fan. But aside from Oathbringer and my reread of the Stormlight Archive, I have started another audiobook, and that is The Gods Below by Andrea Stewart. And this is a new release that came out in September, and it's a high fantasy, and it follows, I thought, only 2 sisters, but since I've been listening to it, it's introduced 1 or 2 other perspective characters. So now I'm a little bit bamboozled, whereas before I could keep track of everything, but now I'm like, okay, I'm listening to the audiobook of a high fantasy. There is several perspectives happening here. So I've been taking notes on my phone as I'm listening to it, and I think that's partly impacting my enjoyment of the book, the fact that there is just so much going on. But I think it's going to settle because I'm not even halfway through yet. So I just need to give it a chance, and I'm enjoying what is happening with each of these perspectives. I know that it's about these characters who are trying to survive in a world that over 500 years ago there was a shattering, and now in the world there is a wall of this mist that is encroaching on civilization, and so everyone's trying to get away from it. But if you get exposed to the mist, you either die or you turn into a creature, you shift into something else. And at the start of the book, the main 2 characters are 9 and 15, and the 15-year-old is trying to get them away across this border so they can escape from the mist. And she says to her sister, wait here, I'll come back for you. And while she's gone, she gets accepted to go across the border, and as she turns around to go back and get her sister, she gets knocked over the head and taken away. And so she never comes back for her sister, who she said, just wait here, I'll come back for you. And the sister gets enveloped in the mist and changes, and then it does a time skip of 10 years, and now we are following the events of these characters. So the younger sister is trying to be resolute and learning combat in her new body, and then the other character is trying to scrape together gems to survive while she's doing deep diving, and then she's just been kidnapped. So I'm like, I am in, like, I'm interested, I'm keen to see what these new characters bring that are not the 2 sisters, because we've been introduced to, I think, someone in politics as well, and then another guy, and I don't really know what his deal is either. I don't know if he's part of the altered like the younger sister is, or if he's something else entirely. So I'm enjoying it. I'm just really confused, but I think in a good way. So hopefully The Mime Order and that book I can finish by the end of the week, because I really want to, I'm getting restless, like I really want to move on to other things. And I don't know if other things means I'll continue listening to Oathbringer, or if I'm going to want something else short. It depends on what comes up at my library, because a few holds are kind of pending. I just have a lot of reading momentum at the moment, and reading a long book tends to slow that down, even if it's a 5-star read for me. So I'll see how I feel by the end of the week, and of course I will let you know in my next clip. I'm shocked that something has happened that doesn't usually happen to me, and that is I finished 2 books. Me finishing books in a week on a weeknight is insane. So I finished The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon and gave this a 4 stars. And then I also finished The Gods Below by Andrea Stewart. And initially when I started it, I was thinking of giving it a 4 stars. It started out very promising and I loved the world building, but I feel like it slowly lost me along the way. I'm not sure whether to give it a 3.5 or a 3 because my enjoyment of it really waned, which was unfortunate. Honestly, I'd probably just sit at 3 stars. I think the introduction of a lot of other characters is the reason I didn't like it. There was one little bit towards the ending that was a very minor twist that I also didn't like, and I felt that it tainted a whole intent of a character arc for me. So that was also unfortunate, although, you know, some people could read it, love it, and go, ooh, the intrigue and the drama. I was like, oh, that's stupid. So yeah, different enjoyment for different people. But ultimately I finished this and I finished The Gods Below. So that was like by Wednesday or something, Tuesday. So I thought, oh God, what do I read now? I've ordered 2 books and they aren't coming until next week. So I feel like I'm already in the mood for those, but then I also have days before they arrive. So I was like, maybe I should start The Song Rising, because unlike The Mime Order, like this is actually very short. It's 300 something pages. The Mime Order is over 500. So I thought, oh, I can smash this out in a couple of days, but it turns out that I can't. I got 30 pages into this. I feel like I need a break in between each book, and that's because of the subject matter. So there's a lot of detail. It goes into depth about the clairvoyant underworld, and there's not a lot of hope. These characters are scrambling to survive and fight back against Scion London and Nashira and the Rephaim, which are these otherworldly beings. So Paige and the clairvoyants don't have a lot of power and agency. They've really got to scramble. And reading about that back to back consistently, I'm like, I need a light book, and I've ordered 2 romances. So I feel like I'm in the mood for those and not this at the moment. So I'm going to temporarily DNF it, I think, and circle back to it later. Similarly, I was like, oh, maybe this will, you know, cure my not slump, but my gap before my other books arrive. And so I started The Honey Witch, and this has been lauded as a sapphic romance that's really cute and cozy, but I started it, I got 10% into it, and the main character is supposed to be a 21-year-old woman, but she was so aloof and immature to me that I thought, I'm not enjoying this at all. I'm so disappointed that I'm not vibing with it. So I put that down at 10%, and part of me thought maybe I should continue reading it when I'm out of this like couple of days waiting period for my new books. But at the same time, I'm like, I know that I'm not liking the style of it now, so why push myself to continue? So I'm facing the music. Unfortunately, The Honey Witch is a straight up DNF for me, which is sad. So to start the week on 2 finished books and then to end the week on 1 DNF and 1 putting it down temporarily, I'm like, what happened? So therefore I had a reading plot twist, and I randomly saw this book on another booktuber's channel, and I thought, oh, I wonder if it's available at my library. And lo and behold, the audiobook was almost immediately available. So I was like, I'll listen to that please, because it's quite short. I think it's a 9-hour audiobook, and it's called This Delicious Death, and it combines like young adult sleuthing with a zombie apocalypse. So in this world, a couple of years ago, there was a pandemic, and that pandemic made people get a stomach flu, and then from that stomach flu, they became ghouls. So they had a craving for human flesh. They couldn't eat proper food anymore. They grew fangs, they grew claws, and they had a frenzy like zombies have a frenzy, and they, you know, go crazy and eat people. So after that happened, a corporation developed called Synflesh, and that means it's like a synthetic flesh that these ghouls can eat. They were assimilated back into society, and they were called the Hollow People because ghouls is like a slur. And so these 4 girls that we are following are Hollow People, and they are going to a music festival, as you do when you are, you know, roughly college age. And while they're there, one of them, I think, gets drugged, and it triggers the ghoul inside her to come out. Usually they've got some kind of control over it and they can mediate it, but in this case she had no control and she accidentally killed someone, and now they're like, that wasn't, I mean, technically wasn't your fault, so we're now going to investigate why this happened and what's going on. And I'm looking forward to them uncovering this whole conspiracy. It's so enjoyable to me. It's sitting at a 4 stars, and it's so unexpected, but I'm having so much fun. So hopefully that book, I've got 2 hours of the audio left. Hopefully that can lift the rest of my mood for this week, but that is the vibe that I want to end this video on, rather than being like doom and gloom about my own reading motivation for DNFing 2 books. So this is what I'm going to focus on. It is such a great time, but that is my reading for this week. It has been completely chaotic up and down, but thank you so much for watching. Leave me some book emojis in the comments if you got this far, but thank you again for watching this video. I'll come chat to you in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.